that has big time camp. What the movie will be the ultimate champ. You might think you're crazy, might think they're diseased, but they're watching all their chance to find the best of beasts.
We rate each movie in 5 categories, none of which are objective quality.
It's Stan, Gene, Jack and Nick who watch it till it's finished, because the love for this movie can be diminished. And maybe the film's plot has no rhyme or reason, but that's a part of charm.
Colin's breath is off the season.
It's low budget film that is much true. They find a flick that monster Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo.
Yak Mala! Welcome back, my friends, to the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. I am your host. I am 8th Dan Stanadu, and I am happy to be joined by my Boogaloo Knights. They are Sir Nick.
Greetings and salutations. Holy fuck, this is going to be a rough cast. I almost forgot my catchphrase.
All right. Sir Jack Hall.
Sup, ninjas.
Ninjas, woohoo! And Sir Jim.
I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm already wondering if we should add a category for best season theme.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's actually a pretty good one.
That is
I was
pretty
thinking
good.
you were going to say best Nick moment.
There's so many. How do you choose just one?
Best film summary by Nick.
Well, as the guys are saying, they're talking about the best of, and that's what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the best of our last year, the year in Boogaloo, 2019. It was a much longer year as we went through seasons 5 through 10. Can you believe it? That's a lot of movies.
It is. I don't
could almost say it was 50.
I don't want to get into too much math. It's I think it's about 100. It's about 175 movies.
That's right.
That we did over the course of the year.
If you include all of the sequels that we were forced to watch because we did the Son of Boogaloo season.
That's right. We got to watch the movies before and after each one of those.
I believe that Halloween accounted for 90% of that output. But,
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a year, so this is, they say this kind of thing is like riding a bike. You never really forget. But no, I think we're going to fall off quickly here. But what are the categories? Jim, tell us.
We have many categories.
Yeah.
Very, very just the best categories.
And we're going to add one.
So in our search for the ultimate B movie, we rate each film in 5 categories. So we do have an award for the best of each of those 5 categories. Those being the schlock, heart for budget, what the fuck, memorable, and crazy concept. We also have a bonus one for the least memorable film of the year. We call that the We Did That This Year award. And then we have a recommendation for New Boogaloo, a film that was released in 2019 that we think may have a slot on the show coming up in the near future. Flip side of that, the Missed movie, the movie that could have been in a season and was not. And then we have the B-Movie Babe of the Year and the Boogaloo Dude of the Year.
All right.
Oh, and the Saints.
And the Saints.
And then the Saints, of course. Every year, each year for going back into time immemorial, we recommend for sainthood a couple of sometimes films, sometimes I'm going to say sometimes this is the second time we're doing it. I'll try to kind of grow the pretend history of this, like we've been doing it for more than like we got together before we did the podcast. I did this every year too. Sometimes an actor, a director, a production company,
Sometimes a can of V8 juice. Yeah.
inanimate objects. You can nominate anything for sainthood, and then we vote on it, and they make it in or do not make it in.
Yeah. The other three guys vote on your selection, and 2 gets in. Oh no, it needed to be unanimous. I think wasn't it?
I think we agreed on unanimous. It was only like 1 or I think there was only 2 out of 8 that didn't get in.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty easy at this in the early stages, but yeah. So, well, what do you think? Should we take a walk down the red carpet and give some awards out, or did you want to give an award for best season?
God damn it! I thought you said there wasn't going to be any walking.
just a moving sidewalk down memory lane.
Moving sidewalk. Well, that's as long as it's red, then I don't care. Okay, let's hand out the first award. Jim, tell us what the first award is.
All right, it can be whatever we want it to be. How about let's talk about best season. We should, before we get into too far, we should remind people what the seasons are that we're talking about.
All right. Well, season 5, we had the Astro Nutz season where of course the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo went to outer space. Then season 6 was Son of Boogaloo, where we dealt with sequels and threequels and all those wonderful, wonderful things. Then we had the free mustache rides. All mustaches all the time. Then we had our directors, our Boogaloo tours of the top directors in the business. Then
in the Boogaloo business. In
the Boogaloo business, yes.
That's a very important distinction.
Show me yours, show me mine. So the impossible to remember season of
that I'm sure is written 3 different ways on the website, let alone anywhere else
Yeah, exactly. And season 10, of course.
Explain to them what Show Me Yours, Show Me Yours is, at least. Then.
Well, okay, the season where we tried to surprise the other guys with movies that they'd never seen before that we had seen and wanted to bring to the table.
That should have been the title.
It's a good title, yeah.
Yeah. Rolls off the tongue, totally, yes. And finally, season 10, where we have the Do You Believe in Magic season, which of course we just wrapped up. So, yeah. Wow, that's a lot of seasons.
So which one? Which of those 6
It's like
seasons?
picking. It's a Sophie's choice of movies, man.
I gotta say to you, I actually think for like consistent Boogaloo top to bottom, I think it's easily Astronauts. And not only is that a great name, pretty much every one of those movies, just you look back. Sometimes they don't stand out from each other because the titles are so damn the same. But I mean, I know we had a couple really high scoring movies in there, like probably I think 3 really high scoring movies, and just like the consistent level of Boogaloo that could be found on science fiction, outer space B movies, cult favorites is so high. I mean, there's a billion that we could have put in there still. So I think that's got to be your season of the year. And
see, how do you sacrifice Do You Believe in Magic though for that? I mean, I wanted to go with Astronauts too, but the Magic season, man, it had Deathstalker too.
And could have had Deathstalker. So yeah, the Magic. Well, that anything that you can, and it's interesting. I mean, Son of Boogaloo has a lot of sequels. Like, so anytime you can bring in a lot of,
in fact, they're all sequels.
Yes. So
that's what we mean by a lot.
Yes,
concept. 100% of them.
100%. Which is rare. It's rare that we can actually say 100% of anything on this show, but I don't know.
Let's add 100% of movies in space. Do you believe in magic? 100% of movies with magic. I don't know. It's funny that way. I'm sorry. Did I distract you there, Stan? Please go on.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
I got no
I
idea.
think because of the nature of the two ones we haven't mentioned, other than in the introduction, I think we can get rid of Mustache Rides and
Definitely the best title of the year. Mustache Rides was best title of the year. For sure.
Best title, yes, but that's
Astronaut
not an
is
award.
But
I would love to accept that award, but it's not an award.
Well, I think Astronauts was the most consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Always number crunching by just average rating in the various categories. Do You Believe in Magic was slightly highest, just by a smidge.
I think personally I would give Magic the award just because of that, and at the end of Magic, and perhaps it was the luck of getting Furious at the very end, but I know at the end of Astronauts there was kind of like, oh, this has been 8 movies in space. I'm a little done with space movies at this point. Whereas in the case of Do You Believe in Magic, I could have still kept going and watched a couple more Magic movies because there was some really strong movies in that season.
It had more variety for sure. Yes, there was magic showing up, and yes, I guess I had ninjas in both of mine, but I did that because I knew none of you would have ninjas in them. So,
and when you can have ninjas and magic, then that's pretty good.
Well, and I had also been looking at a sword and sorcery season at one point, so this was a way to get a couple of those movies in for me.
Whereas I think the problem with when you talk about You Show Me Yours and the directors and the Mustache in that regard, and even Son of Boogaloo to a certain degree, is that when you there's such a huge amount of different movies that can go in there, so you're all over the place, which is it's great, but at the same time it's like they're. When the one line throughout is a mustache, it's like that's a harder line than say magic.
It had some movies that did well, but it had some that it was a very divisive season. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of how we scored the movies.
And I think that some of the movies, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if, as well, after we hand out the awards, if there's any seasons that actually aren't showing up in the awards from all of us. Because I feel like everything will be represented in some way, but it'll be interesting to see which seasons kind of get more representation. Yeah,
that will be. Actually, that's a good point.
Thank you.
We
definitely see some. Yeah.
Are we ready to kick off the They never do on the Golden Globes. They never just.
By the way, I think
decide right before the show, starting the show, that they're going to have a different award.
Nope. No, they don't.
And I think we discussed the seasons. I don't think we actually gave an award though. I guess mine would be Astronauts. Stan's would be Magic. Magic also for you, Nick.
No, I'm going with Astronauts. For me, it came down to leather bikini, space bikini, robot versus leather bikini. Astronaut takes it.
There is that.
Yeah, and in Astronauts, the really high scoring Flesh Gordon, which led to putting Flesh Gordon 2 in the following season. We absolutely wouldn't have put Flesh Gordon 2 in had we not just seen such big giant numbers.
That's true.
So Astronauts for me as well.
All right.
Well, we were trying to decide what order to do these awards in, and like all the big awards shows, we decided alphabetically. Seems like the most logical way to do this. But that we get to start with. You always start the awards show with one of the strong ones. You don't want to. You don't start with like the key grip of the year on the Oscars because people start tuning out. We're going to start with Movie Babe of the Year.
All right. Well, this was a hard one. I mean, of course, as any good Boogaloo movie should have. They should have some beautiful women in them, and so it was difficult for me. I put it down to 2 women. Monique Gabrielle from Deathstalker 2. She was wonderful in that. But I think the award for me is going to go to Carolyn Monroe from Star Crash. Those the outfits that she wore in that were spectacular, and it's true. Like in a memorable moment, she is a memorable moment for me. So there you go.
Yeah, it was down to two women for me as well, Sybil Danning and Caroline Munro. And Caroline Munro was my choice. Striking woman.
Absolutely.
Oh.
All right. Well, it was only one person in contention for me. Skidoo.
I did consider Carol Channing.
Sorry, girl's best friend. Carol Channing. Oh, I think she was only about about 97 when she did this movie. 30 years before she passes away, and when she strips down to her underwear to seduce that guy, oh man, no, I can't tell you how much I was into the Carol Channing. Oh, I had some. In fact, I may need to pause, guys. I may need 5 minutes. I'm gonna.
We'll rename this award the Carol Channing Memorial Award.
Carol Channing Babe of the Year. No question for me.
I'm trying to think without the context of the show how that name's gonna last a couple of years down the road. The Carol Channing of this year. Your B-movie babe. You're Carol Channing of the last 5 seasons.
I hear that too. Every single time I just get so on.
I'm going to go with Monique Gabrielle, who, as well as being just a ridiculously beautiful woman, played a double part in Deathstalker, and just stole the film as far as an actual performance. Playing two characters that are radically different in the same film, as well as just incredibly beautiful woman who I saw in several movies outside.
Possibly getting naked as both characters, right? That is a Minnie Gabriel role. So
in my memory, yes.
I was going to ask if the two characters got it on with each other, but that could have been just my imagination.
They have the best cat and mouse chase of the season. we did chase of the year. That would also take it. Some clever filming there. All right, as I mentioned, we always rate films in 5 categories. So first category that we're giving an award in is the craziest concept of the year.
Craziest concept. Oof, boy, oh boy. There was some crazy concepts this year, but there was one that stood out to me absolutely. And as I was going through the seasons and kind of looking at them, it was massive in crazy concept, because not only did it have one crazy concept, it had 3 crazy concepts. I am going to give this award to Tales from the Quadhead Zone.
Wow, I considered that, but in the end, personally, I went with the incredible strange creatures who became mixed up zombies. We had some crazy concepts this year, but I am sure this one had a concept going into the filming, as opposed to something like Furious that they just made shit up as they went along.
Well, speaking of just making stuff up as you go along, I did go back and look at my scorings, and I saw everybody else's scorings for different movies and things over the season. I think that Quadhead Zone was the craziest concept regularly, or maybe that was a different category they won in. But for me, this didn't score as well for you guys, and even I only at the time gave it an 8, and yet I just can't get over how crazy it is to me. And it was a much bigger hit with the listeners. And so I just can't get over the idea of a horror movie that becomes a wrestling documentary that stands pat for like 12 years, that gets picked up and made into trying to make it into a regular movie, combining all the different all trying to put a regular story into it and filming a few things and just combining these 3 different things into one movie. We often see 2 things in one movie. 3 different concepts put into one movie. None of them good. I just think I Like to Hurt People is such a crazy concept.
It is. It's a wacky film. It didn't score as high at the time, but in hindsight, Flesh Gordon is to me the taking a film. You're making a hardcore film that became a softcore film, so it get a bit more play, based really, really closely on a movie serial that no one had access to at the time. like a 30-year-old movie serial that no one would have seen in a decade. They wouldn't have seen it since like revivals in the 1950s, and it's like so accurate that when you watch Flash Gordon, you kind of feel like Flash Gordon might have ripped it off. It's that close to the style and design. So that gives us really hard to keep track of.
I'm glad this is your job and not mine.
Yeah, I got a lot of windows open here. Well, we had our Babe of the Year. We have the Boogaloo Dude of the Year.
Boogaloo Dude of the Year. Oh yeah. I actually at this moment I'm still it's still between two guys, and I don't know who's gonna take it. Come back to me.
I don't think it's a contest at all. It's the Hoff, man. I mean, you got the Hoff in makeup, being all like, save me, damsel in distress. He has it. The only possible contender, I believe, was Vince Murdocho from Cosmic Flash Gordon versus the Cosmic Cheerleaders. He had the gravitas, but he did not have the pecs.
All right. Well, I mean, for me, it was simple because this is a guy that's like, he's a no question Boogaloo Hall of Famer, even if it's not this year. He showed up more than once, and he's just him. It's Reb Brown.
Oh, Reb Brown. Oh, yeah, it was wonderful to get some Reb Brown into the season.
Yeah, and we can't wait to get more.
Yeah. 2 seasons there. You talked about Muscle Bound. You talked about the buff guys. Ted Pryor in Deadly Prey, who goes through the whole film in short shorts.
And posing at weird times for no reason.
That's right.
I love it.
And see, that's where it is. It's like for me, it's either Ted Pryor or Matt Hannon, of course, from Samurai Cop, because he's Samurai Cop, right? So I think because of that, I'm going to give him the award because you gave Ted Pryor the award. So that's good. It enables me to kind of.
I figured that's what you were doing. You were waiting to see if one of our guys. We picked one of the guys, and then you'd pick the other one. And if we picked both of them, then you'd still have been screwed.
Well, no, it's true. I probably would have gone. No, I don't know. Matt Hannon, it is.
Oh, well, when we get to this memorable one, I'm curious. That is the next category. So we'll do the most. I'm going to mix it up here. We'll do the most memorable film of the year.
Okay.
And then we'll do the least. I want to pair these.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that
most
makes no
memorable
sense.
film of the year.
Well, the most memorable, and it's a great lead-in for me because Matt Hannon's Samurai Cop wins is my most memorable. It's the movie that admittedly I watched it twice because it was that crazy, but it's that crazy and there's so much stuff in there that I wanted to see again, and I think that's why I put it as the most memorable.
You're nuts, because the most memorable is obviously Chopping Mall. Robot slasher film. How can you not think of that as the most memorable?
Well, for me, in many ways, I suppose most memorable is the film that I just simply enjoyed the most as a film, which is probably why I consider Class of 1999. But I'm sure nobody else did. But I mean, for me, this is a movie that I watched it. It made a huge impression on me. There's images in it I can't forget. It caused me to rewatch Alien. It caused me to watch Battle Beyond or Terror from Beyond the Stars. I now see it in things like showing up and being referenced in things like Memory, the documentary that just came out about Alien, and so is Planet of the Vampires.
Yeah, I mean, Chopping Mall is certainly the most inspiring as far as movies I watched outside of competition.
Oh boy,
I
yes.
watched somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 Jim Wynorski films over the course of last year, and only a couple of them for the show. But Planet of the Vampires was the one that just leaped out. That was the costume design, the overall design of the film, and the one that was also so surprising. Chopping Mall definitely would be in my tops, but it's I think Planet of the Vampires caught me by surprise more than anything else, and that's some of the that design, the costume design that looks so much like the X-Men, is the thing that I really remember from it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, what's the flip side? What's the least memorable then?
Oh,
You looked back over the list. What was the one you're like, I can't even remember what that was?
yeah, there was two. Well, it's when I looked through the list, I went back to Astronauts, and I'm like, Battle in Outer Space, and I tried really hard, but and then finally I remembered, and once I remembered, then I found that I was actually getting stuff into my brain. On the other side of the coin, Isle of the Snake People. I remembered what the movie was, but I remember nothing that happened, per se, within the 90 minutes in there. So I am giving it to Isle of the Snake People.
I'm giving this award for the one movie on the list. I went, did we watch that? I've never heard of that movie. Space Rage. I have no idea what that was. No memory of it whatsoever.
I totally remember probably too much of Space Rage, quite honestly.
What was that the one shot in a warehouse?
No, that was Space Mutiny.
No, but you've definitely sold us on your award pick.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously, what happened?
We're challenging.
It was the Michael Paré where they're on the prison planet, and then they're driving around in the dune buggies, and then they have kind of the western feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
The uncle from Anne of Green Gables is the hero.
Yeah. That movie I remembered very well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I associated Rage with Michael Paré. I don't know why. I got to be honest with you. You guys have both picked movies from Astronauts, and like I said, the problem with Astronauts is, well, two things. Number one, the titles are all very similar, and it's so long ago. But for me, a movie, I'm like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I guess we did it. It wasn't as long ago, and I couldn't tell you one scene from it. It wasn't until I saw what the concept was and who the director was that I clicked in a little. Then I remember, I think maybe, no, I don't remember anything. It's Cyborg Cop. I remember nothing about this movie. Nothing.
I feel like if we did this next year, then Cyborg Cop would absolutely be in that list for me, because it's just like I remember just enough of it right now that it wasn't going to win.
I think maybe, I'm thinking to myself, you'd think a Cyborg Cop would be in my head, but as I seem to remember, perhaps there was no Cyborg Cop actually in the movie. I don't know.
I remember the reggae partner that he wound up getting, and
I don't remember. No.
Still nothing.
Sorry, reggae partner. You think that would be nothing?
The one for me that, as I'm looking at the list, I'm like, I'm just thinking of, can I remember a scene from that film? And Cyborg Cop. I mean, the key thing I remember is the lack of cops. But I do, I remember the big confrontation and everything. The one that nothing would come back to me was Game of Death 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed it. I recall enjoying it, but just nothing of the story. No specific scenes. Nothing will come back to me on that one.
I think I remember something about a hallway that looked like an underground thing,
yes.
and that's all I remember from that movie.
The
what
hallway
really
of
gets
death.
me is I remember it scored really high in WTFs, and usually WTFs are something that I don't forget. And I'm like, what was a WTF from that?
It's the guy with the lions and the peacocks.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
right. It did get a really high WTF
Yeah.
score. I mean, it was almost a perfect score on WTF. So it was really really high.
See, now that
yeah.
you mentioned that, I'm like, oh, that was really WTF.
The guy that raised the lions and the peacocks, and then they had
eight blood or like 8 raw meat. Yep.
Yeah, and the very
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then the Bruce Lee add-on of like the funeral and stuff like that, and of course, yes, the you know, like the hallway that we mentioned where you have to try to get into the place. Meanwhile, there's a back exit, and oh yeah, yep, I remember. Now I remember. Yep.
So definitely more than Cyborg Cop.
What's a weird game? I remember something from that movie that you don't. Strange game to play.
Well, I figure that eventually, if we keep talking about it, then if all of us remember, it's good. If only
what's the game you're talking about?
that one was least memorable.
Game of Death. Well, we're at about halfway through our awards. So we are at
this is the part where we need to put in the in memoriam section, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. B-movie actors we lost last year. Cue some sad music, maybe something by Sting. We didn't lose Sting last year. No, he's fine. He's fine.
Adamant. That's some Adamant music in there.
Yeah, something by that band that's in.
Yeah,
maybe the least memorable is the movie we just watched because the name won't come back to me. from Furious. Like that band from that movie that's literally
yeah.
Nothing. No.
What?
That's a bad sign.
Yeah.
I only remember it because we just did it. Well, with all of the seasons we did, I don't know. I don't want to do too much math. 6 seasons at 8 movies is 112. I'm bad at this. What movie did we regret not being in? What was our missed movie of the year?
For me, I think the missed movie, and we'll go back to Astronauts here because, you know, I know that there's a ton of movies that could have gone into this season. Galaxy of Terror is the one that I really would have liked to have seen in there. You know, anytime you can get like alien sex rape kind of thing going on, then yeah, how do you not want to put that in a season, right? Roger Corman again, so it's like
we had Ninja 3, the nomination, leading the polls for so long it still might be number 1.
Still.
And we haven't touched Enter the Freaking Ninja, a ninja movie starring Franco Nero. I can't believe it's not in. We should have seen it. Although, while just looking up stuff right before this podcast, I did find out Franco Nero did make Italian Western in space called Wild Wild Planet, but I still have to go with Enter the Ninja because I know nothing about Wild Wild Planet. But if I knew anything about Wild Wild Planet, I might change my answer.
Yeah, the movie that, like, show me yours. I mean, I originally put in The Tripper, and you guys had already seen it, which sucked because I'm sure it would score so well. And just going back, and like I say, I like to hurt people because it didn't score as well. I wish I had gone with my other instinct and gone with the movie called Girls Gone Dead, that I'm sure, hopefully someday I can get in because it's a score. I'm sure of it.
I kind of wish you had gone with that because I wouldn't have had to watch.
Yeah, you hated that film.
People. Well,
you hated that film above more than anybody else.
Well, I mean, I have a movie I regret putting in, So that is the obvious slot for this. I deeply, deeply regret putting State Park into the season that's supposed to be showing off the best B movie
Most
directors.
disappointment? Can we do most disappointment?
Oh yeah.
Definitely for all of us. Yeah.
The thing is, though, is that with that movie, it was going to go in. There was no question, like whether it was that, because the name Heavy Metal Summer, like that, eventually it was going in. So somebody had to take the bullet. You just happened to.
But I think someone we missed in that B movie director season was Fred Olen Ray. Mm-hmm. I know Nick had looked at a couple of Olen Ray films that almost made it, but there is actually a Fred Olen Ray film that he co-directed with Jim Wynorski that could have easily fit into that season, called Dinosaur Island.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that those two and dinosaurs on an island?
Yeah.
We're still there.
Yeah.
That would have been good way to screw that one up there. Yeah, moron.
It almost made it into next season, I'll be honest with you. It was on the short list for next season. Man, it's got a lot going for it. It'll end up on the show eventually. And we'll have a dinosaur season, a co-director season, an island season. Well, there's a lot of options for that one.
All those seasons sound good.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
All right. What's the next category?
Most heart for least budget.
Most heart for least budget. Well, for me, Chopping Mall was a really strong contender for this one. I thought that they did a lot with that, but then I kept going back and wound up once again with Astronauts and Battle Beyond the Stars, and just how much they wound up doing with that movie for so very, very little. That was a fine work with that.
I know what you're saying. I think I went with a little lower budget. I didn't actually look up the budget. I probably should have. But I went with New Kids. That was just a damn fine film, and I expected nothing of it.
You know what? This one's tough because, like, I've already given Planet of the Vampires an award, so I'm not going to give it to that, though it seems like the obvious choice. And that's there's a couple here that's like they did the most with the budget. But did they have any heart? Like Gutterballs did the most with the budget, probably, but had no heart at all. So I looked at it. I'm like, man, this should have not been as good, and it should not have had some kind of the memorable moments and the special effects that it did for just being a 70s porn parody, softcore porn parody, and that's Flesh Gordon.
Yeah, it definitely brings it. I'm going with Stan's runner up there, Chopping Mall. Those robots that they built in any other film would have been 5 times the budget of the whole film. Mm-hmm. They did an amazing job with those, and built fake parts of them all to destroy. Had a lot of interesting deaths and interesting kill scenes in that movie. So that's the one for me. Shopping Mall. This is the point in the award show where I realized why you have a host come out and do some
comedy or music.
Some comedy, music number.
I'm more than happy to sing for you guys.
Yeah, give us a couple of bars of skidoo skidoo. So that
skidoo to something jumpy doo.
The only thing that matters is with who.
Oh, skidoo.
There's really no point to having a best song of the year.
Skidoo clearly won that.
It's Skidoo. If it was most memorable song, if it's all that stuff, it's Skidoo.
it's Skidoo no matter what.
Once it's in there, it's not getting out.
All right. That brings us to the new Boogaloo, the movie that was actually released in 2019 that we think has a shot at making it into the big leagues.
All right. Well, for me, I was poking through the movies, and it's interesting as you see a lot of the movie posters and that kind of thing. You kind of go down the list, and something will stand out, and then but it's how much you keep coming back to that. And so I found a movie called "I'll Take Your Dead," which is a man who disposes of bodies for gangsters discovers that one of the corpses is still alive. And then you look at the poster, and it's the guy, like it's an older guy before a younger girl, and then there's like a like corpse-like hand that's coming across his shoulder. It looks really, really Boogaloo. So yeah.
I am going with The Haunting of Sharon Tate, the Hilary Duff produced film that was aping the Tarantino Sharon Tate film of this year, only adding ghosts and no production value, and coincidentally made $13 on opening weekend in 2 Russian theaters.
That is amazing.
That is good work.
Oh man, you go, Jim, and if you don't pick mine, what am I do?
I have a movie that I was gonna ask the three of you, and I didn't think this was going to be a huge stretch, but I thought I would ask the three of you not to watch the film in between, because I really want to get show reactions to it, not remembering a couple of months ago when you saw reactions. Cats.
Oh yeah. Oh, Cats. Well, it'd be a 0 in the heart, wouldn't it?
This may be the rare one we're going into.
How much is the budget on that sucker?
It's something like 150 million. It's something insane. Because
it would be more than every movie we do combined.
Probably
the rest of the show. Like,
it probably would,
even if we did big budget Boogaloo, it may not add up to 150 mil.
Has James Corrigan ever been in a good film or a film that made money?
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn. I really wanted to include Ready or Not, but I think it's actually too popular. So and too well received. So I'm going with Fat Guy with a Shotgun, Hillbilly Prophecy. Because anytime I hear about anytime you have a movie that starts with a shotgun, you got gold already. So when apocalypse stops, begins, all that can stop hell on earth is a fat guy with a shotgun. I mean, this speaks to me on a personal level.
All you need is a shotgun.
Yeah, I could be the hero.
Oh, fantastic! I want to see all those movies.
Let's
great.
We need to.
Well, now we have two. We have enough for a season. Oddly enough, with our first 2 years.
Oh, that's right.
All right, the next season is New Boogaloo after.
Yeah, we'll have to look at what the 4 winners were last year, so we can. I doubt we've. What's the newest movie we've seen? It must be Among the Shadows, but I can't think of anything else, even like in the last decade, that we've done.
The doll would have been pretty new.
Oh, the doll was pretty new, yeah.
Yeah, but I know that I'm sure that we didn't watch the 4 movies that we chose last year.
She was definitely in the running for Babe of the Year. I've forgotten her name though. That's why. Valentina.
Human Barbie.
Yeah, the Human Barbie. Her.
They teased you though. They teased you by that you get to see more flesh in that one than you did.
Yeah,
that's what And she just, Carol Channing took off more clothes than her, so that was like,
that is strangely true. Strangely true.
I like the girlfriend more.
She was hot.
Yeah, the Human Barbie doesn't do much.
The Human Barbie, what did she do for a living? It was something weird. It wasn't quite porn, but it was
like she was like an Instagram model.
Oh.
Like you can make money on Instagram if you have enough people that, yeah.
But also she was into like weird stuff, right? And so was the director of the movie. Yeah.
Oh yes. Like the backstory behind that movie is and the personalities Yeah, and like there's just the different stuff. Like she was like, oh, you only have to eat like once every 3 days because you can teach your body to like to absorb those nutrients for that long and spread it out. Like all sorts of weird stuff.
Breatharian or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy.
And possibly Nazi sympathizer. For legal reasons, I have to say possibly. Yes, channeling a psychic that was Hitler's psychic.
Yeah, that's right.
By coincidence, just coincidence.
And then the director of that movie is this like incredibly religious woman, and you're like, you're an incredibly religious woman that made the doll. Like these things are not. Anyways, yeah, that's right. I'm glad it hasn't won an award yet. I don't know if it's going to. I'm so glad that we got the doll in there to at least talk a little about that thing because it was amazing.
It's important to talk about the doll.
There is actually.
We already talked too much about Space Rage or Death Rage or whatever the hell that was.
As I'm looking at last year's list, there was a category that we hadn't that didn't make it over to this year's list, but
that's okay. We added a new one this year, so
yeah.
What is the one we missed?
Objective quality.
I have that on my list.
You have one down?
Yep.
Okay. Well, why don't you start then, and the rest of us will think of it in the meantime.
Objective quality. That's the movie that you could just watch for pure enjoyment and enjoy.
Yeah. The best.
We rate the films in 5 categories, that none of which are objective quality. But if you looked at this whole set, which one actually should get a good IMDb number or a good review in the real world?
All right, go ahead, Stan.
All right. Well, for me, this came down to 2 choices. I mean, you guys talked about it earlier, Planet of the Vampires. I mean, it's an amazing movie and did so much, but ultimately, my number one for actual objective quality was Trick Baby. I thought that it was a really good movie, and that's why I scored it so very low, because I didn't think it was Boogaloo in the least. But would I watch it again? Yes, I would.
Solid.
All right.
You have on there, Nick?
Are you still alive, Nick?
Oh, sorry. I gave the whole thing with my mute on. I'm sorry. I was good. I was funny. Oh. Okay, let's move on.
You're still funny.
Okay. I gave it to Planet of the Vampires. I mean, it's a great film. It should be watched by anyone who's a fan of the genre, and anybody can enjoy it. There's not like a ramping up a Boogaloo to prevent you from enjoying this film. It's just a great film.
Yeah, I mean, I already gave it for that reason, because I thought that this was, I used, like I say, one of my categories basically as this category. So I already gave it Planet of the Vampires there, and Trick Baby is an excellent choice. I would definitely go with that. But I love this movie. I loved it more than any of you guys. I just think it's a really fun movie, and it caused me to watch all 3 of them that were done in this. It's sort of a trilogy, and I enjoyed all of them too. So I really do have Class of 1999 here. Should have also been consideration for more heart than budget, because some of those special effects were fantastic.
So it wasn't Dungeons and Dragons?
Dungeons and Dragons almost looked like it was made by professionals.
We did. The special
almost,
effects
not
in
quite.
Class of 1999 are so much better than the special effects in Dungeons.
That's true. Very, very true. I'll second Trick Baby. I think that was the one that did suffer at points, because it was just a really well-made film with developed characters and a plot and
and like social conscience and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, there's everything. Yeah.
Good acting. Really not things that are common.
No.
What they're doing here.
All right. Into the home stretch here. Schlockiest film of the year.
Schlockiest film for me. It's I got to go with the Pryor Brothers and Hand It to Deadly Prey. It was it's one of those movies that I look at and I say, like, this is what I want to watch. When I want to watch a schlocky movie, Deadly Prey stands right up near the top. So that's my award.
I'm going with Flesh Garden and the Cosmic Cheerleaders. It was a schlock fest and had so much going for it. And if I give it a word, maybe they'll make a new one.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of these, so many good schlocky moments. Or movies. So I'm sitting there going, okay, these are all these schlocky. So what's the moment that if you were to say to yourself, this is the schlockiest thing I saw, it would be the poo singing in Flesh Gordon.
Flesh Gordon or Flesh Gordon
and the Cosmic Cheerleaders is the poo singing in Flesh Gordon and the Cosmic Cheerleaders. A bunch of little poos and they're singing and I'm like, this movie is so incredibly schlocky. I also given it to this the same as you. Flesh Gordon and the Cosmic Cheerleaders is my pick.
I think when you start with the pitch, I want to do a sequel to Flesh Gordon. You're heading down a path. There's not a lot of directions after that one. So mine is absolutely Flesh Gordon meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders. It takes everything the Flesh Gordon had, ramps it up, and it's a sequel to a movie that did really well on VHS, but was not a success at the time it came out. So.
And it was so many years later. It was
20 years later, 18 years later, whatever it was. That's mine as well. Wow, some agreement. That's rare.
Mm-hmm. That's rare.
Well, at least there's one category left, the best picture, as it were, of the Boogaloo Awards, the most WTF movie of the year.
All right. Well, again, I had a tough time with this one, and I think about Furious a lot when it comes to this because, man, there was some what the fuck with that movie. But my only concern is that was there WTF? Is it forefront in my mind because it truly is the last movie that I just watched. It
did score 10s across the board, so you can't say it's just from being recent.
No,
it's more than that. That movie's deserving, definitely mention. Seems weird if it doesn't win something, though it might not win something. Go ahead.
But it's close. But for me, when I came back to it, and the one movie where I just thought oh damn, I don't get any of that. It is The Doll. There's just so much in that where I'm just you think back to it and it's just there's Ron Jeremy. There's so much stuff. There's the night and the days and it's wonderful. The Doll.
Furious is the WTF king. I don't think anybody knew what was going on in that movie. Even the VHS box is confused.
True.
So yeah, I don't want to give it to this. I didn't enjoy this film all that much. For the last award, wow. But I can't deny it is WTF.
I can't believe you didn't enjoy that movie. I loved that movie.
I should have said I enjoyed a lot of the films more in these seasons than that one. I would have liked to highlight something else, but I can't. I mean, there is just so much WTF. The concept that that movie exists just shocks me.
And you know what? It got 10s across the scoreboard. The Doll got 10s across the board. But there was a movie that got 3 of you gave 10s to, and I gave a 9 to. And in retrospect, I'm trying to make up for my mistake by giving Prey the WTF award here.
It definitely rated high. There were several films that had incredibly high scores in that WTF category. Quite amazing. We had 2 with perfect scores. It is very rare to get perfect scores across the board. Most of us are reticent to give out 10s at all, but we had Furious and The Doll, and I'm giving it to The Doll. Which I still couldn't explain the goddamn thing to you about that film. I've had time to reflect. I've had time to meet with clergy, and I still couldn't tell you anything. Couldn't make any sense of that movie. All right. Well, that wraps it up. As I said, the Doll and Furious both had perfect scores there. Deadly Prey had a perfect score in Schlock. For Deadly Prey, you mentioned the almost perfect in WTF.
Yeah, I mean some really strong movies, and I mean that's great. That's exactly what we kind of hope for as we come through the season, and Deadly Prey worked out really well for the season that it was put into as well. It kind of stood out, So, but so did Chopping Mall for that matter. So, excellent work, fellows.
All right,
now. I believe
this is our real best picture.
Yeah, now it's time to potentially introduce some new Saints. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I forget.
I hear the
method- I
paper
forget the
shuffling.
method of
Apparently, a
this.
lot of work went into this from somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'll certainly start.
You always do.
Yeah. Well, unless I choose to pass, but this one's interesting for me. I would like to put up for Sainthood, and it could be controversial, might not get there, but Amir Shervan for giving us Samurai Cop. I feel like this is the only chance that he could have to actually get into the Saints of Boogaloo, because we did watch Samurai Cop, and it was absolutely batshit crazy, and also, of course, it did give us Samurai Cop 2, which while not his movie, is definitely also very crazy. But I just think, like, nothing, he's not going to get the chance again. So I'd like to put him as a Saint.
You know what? I'm voting that down. He's a cardinal of Boogaloo. I'm sorry, Sainthood is just too high of a bar.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, that movie's amazing, but I agree. I can't quite go with it just because it's really the only thing that I think we would get. Like, maybe one of his movies shows up again, and if it shows up again, we can always renominate him. This is not something where once you're nominated, you're out. But I just think one movie isn't enough. It's a good choice, though. I mean, Cardinal is a good way to describe him.
I'm going to support you, Stan, purely because mathematically it doesn't matter whether I do. Just, but just, to be supportive.
Solidarity, brother. Yeah, there you go.
All right. I would like to nominate Sybil Danning's silver bikini warrior costume with the Valkyrie hat.
Yeah, no, that's a positive. That's in. I was looking at pictures of that yesterday, and I was like, that's a memorable moment right there. There's nothing like that. Oh my gosh!
All her costumes in that film are almost there, and then that hat takes it over the top. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, she didn't need the hooker boots, but she had them.
I say it's not the hat I was concentrating on. Sorry, personally, that had my attention, but it's.
The half cut bra does add credibility to my nomination.
Oh my God! Oh, before you two vote, please just go, or certainly feel free and Google it and tell me you're not going to vote it in.
Definitely the eagle of this season.
I remember that ship she had to recline in. She had to basically splay out to fly her ship. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I will accept that. It is definitely her. She fills it out well.
Could anybody have worn that like Sybil Danning?
Has anyone else noticed a lull in the cast?
Because
we're just taking
all
a break.
thinking back on this. I'll remember we're not talking because it's like, oh yeah.
What I'd like to know is, does anybody actually have that prop? Is there any way that we could buy that prop still?
I was looking online at close-up pictures of it, and I don't think that hat looked like paper mache.
Oh, probably.
It hasn't survived. It has long since decomposed, unfortunately, I believe.
All right, Jim, what are you? Did you say yes?
Yes.
I got one.
Don't take pressure, but say yes.
No, I'm trying to figure out why I don't have more pictures of that in my my desktop screens.
All right.
I guess it's my turn. So I liked what you did there, Stan, but the problem was that the gentleman you picked only had one movie. But I have a guy who did only two movies, did two movies, both scoring in the top 10. And, we won't get another chance because that's basically his movies. So Howard Ziem, who brought us Flesh Gordon and Flesh Gordon 2, to me, definitely deserves to be in because of the impact he made on this podcast.
Solid. I'll say yes.
Yeah, I see. I want to vote it down for the same reason as I did with Stan's, but I can't. I love those films so much. The footprint is there. Sainthood.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I would rather give it to the movies themselves, like, put them as saints, but you make a fairly strong point, and since everybody else has gone with it, so I will let it pass.
All right.
Moving on into sainthood, Howard Ziem. Writing this down so that later when we
I was thinking somebody. I was like, I hope somebody's writing this shit down.
I try to write it later.
Luckily, you go back and listen to the shows again and let us know how badly we did on things. So,
well, I'll do my easy one. I don't think anyone's going to be terribly surprised by the nomination of Jim Wynorski for sainthood. For me, as I mentioned, that we did two films in competition. We're going to be doing it.
Stop talking already. He's in.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we have Beastmaster. His hands are all over that. You got
hit oil.
Yeah, it's like Wynorski is one of those guys that was bound to get in sooner or later. It's just a matter of we could have said no this season just so we could do it later on because he's going to show up 40,000 more times over the next 40 seasons.
Again, too much talking. He's in.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that he wouldn't get in at any rate. Like when you talk about Ziem and what he brought to the show. Yeah, Wynorski has brought so much to the show,
and will continue.
Yes,
to
for years to come.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to nominate for Sainthood. He got brought up earlier. He is one of my all-time favorite B-movie actors. I hope to see so many more of his movies coming up. It's Reb Brown. I love Reb Brown.
He's in. Saint.
I would have liked to build up a little bit more momentum on that one, but I can't deny him.
I concur.
Reb Brown again for not so much what he did this season, what he will do in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he's done some fantastic work, and I know that the more that we see of him, the more that it's just like let's just get it over with. Let's just put him in.
Exactly. He's Reb Brown, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's an icon for this type of he's Reb frickin' Brown. All right, Nick, what do you got?
All right. You know what? I would have liked to wait for a movie like Carnival of Souls or Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park to nominate this one. But I am nominating Murder Park. We've had a bunch of films that had taken place in carnivals and parks. And we had one that actually had they promoted as Murder Park. So, the festival, carnival thing I'd like to nominate for setting.
Carnivals and fairs. Carnivals and fairs. That's a tough one because I'm I know it probably eventually will get in. I just don't know if we've had the film yet that makes it iconic.
Well, we had 7 in this group. It was amazing.
We have it shows up all the time. But what's the movie that you're like because of that setting is incredible? Like Kiss Meets the Phantom and Carnival of Souls. Those two films would push it over the top. But I almost feel like we need those films to show up first. I'm on the fence here because your logic is wrong.
New Kids for me does that though.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean that's everything I remember for New Kids is that fairground, the Santa's Village thing. And let's not forget in seasons 1 to 4 we had Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny.
Yeah, and there was also what was it? The Frankenstein.
And Dracula.
And that was there. All right, you've convinced me. It's in.
Yeah, it's interesting because I thought of something similar, but I was actually looking for a specific place, one that might have been shot at several times that could appear. So I think that's where I struggle the most, is that it's far more broad in that case. But
conceptual.
Yeah, it is conceptual. So I mean, since everybody else has, I'll give it.
It's very agreeable.
All right. Peer pressure rules when picking people for the Hall of Sainthood.
Yeah, that's how they
Sainthood.
Yeah, that's how they pick popes.
Yeah,
totally. I don't know, whatever you guys
expect
want
you guys to go in.
Whatever,
I'm gone a little
you
against
guys
the
want to do.
no, this one I'm my pick here. I'm not so sure you guys will agree, but I'm like, how can we not put these in? Just the idea, if we actually had a physical Hall of Fame for these guys and pictures, that we would have a physical and it just a double. Burt Reynolds' mustache and Tom Selleck's mustache.
Well, it's a great...
The two iconic mustaches.
It's a great opportunity to bring up Big City Blues again and just how great that movie was. I mean, I know it's a shame that it didn't quite top out in any one area to win an award, but I would be remiss in not being able to at least bring it up.
Well, we didn't actually do shittiest film. If we did, I think I could have given that award.
So great, you mean?
Terrible movie.
Divisive.
Most divisive, I would say that would win that award. If we had that,
by far,
it would easily be the most divisive.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think about those mustaches?
Can you narrow it? Can you
pick one? I gotta go with
I think that or thematically, like 80s mustaches, or
I don't think Tom Selleck or Burt Reynolds would share an award. Period. They don't get along. Oil and water. If
they
he had
get along,
if you had nominated either one of those singly, I think I could be a little bit more in.
Well, and that was my question: was can I nominate them together? If I have to go with one, I go with Selleck because Burt Reynolds' mustache, as great as it is, in that particular movie was kind of smaller. It wasn't his best mustache in Big City Blues. Another problem with the movie, it's not exactly the mustache he has in Smokey and the Bandit, but Selleck's mustache is always big and furry. It's the lip wig of all lip wigs.
It is the mustache you most want to wrap around you and curl up and to have a little nap. Or maybe it's just me.
Lip caterpillar of the year, definitely for sure.
I'm going to say no. I think again, it feels like if we had more Burt Reynolds or Tom Selleck movies at this point, and I'm sure that we'll see some more of them, but it feels too early to me.
Okay, future, it will likely come up again for me, one or both.
I will also. I'll share in vetoing that one because I think it's not there yet. I think not conceptual enough.
We got to make it a little difficult to get in. That's good.
That's right.
It's the thing for Boogaloo. It's got to have a little.
Well, it's going to get more difficult as we do clear some of the Wynorskis, and of course, once Roger Corman goes in, those kind of things. Like there's going to be those people that are going to be automatics, even if we do one movie. It's going to be like, fuck it, just put them in.
I feel like none of us are actually gonna put in Corman because it's too easy.
Well,
I thought that about Wynorski, and then he went in.
Yeah,
I could.
It's like we haven't picked something actually directed by Corman yet, or something directed by Lloyd Kaufman, and we would generally avoid trauma. And let's face it, these things are eventually going to. We can't forever because we know that it's just that it's low hanging fruit. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm the last one. I've got a performer that has been in numerous films that we have done so far. definitely got a spotlight this year in Samurai Cop. I'm going to nominate the katana, which means Japanese sword.
Oh yeah, well that's it.
Another one that when I nominated Amir Shervan, that's actually kind of I was considering the katana as well. So it's yeah for sure, no question.
Yeah, that's an easy one. That's a gooder.
I'm just choosing to think of it as the katana in Ninja 3: The Domination.
Absolutely, it's
so yeah,
sword. Yeah,
yeah, it will show up again. What didn't like so many of these? I have a couple. There's had to be more movies. How many movies have we had with the katana besides Samurai Cop and Ninja 3? We had two more ninja movies this last Magic season. One of them must have had a katana.
I think both of them did. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh no, I mean there's no shortage of movies with
I'm sure
with swords.
Were there any swords in Furious? I actually don't remember ninjas. So
I remember there was the sounds of swords clashing, but that doesn't mean there was any actual sword.
He had the no, he didn't have a katana. He had the scimitars for some reason that we never figured out.
Right, and I remember shurikens. Getting stabbed in the ass, but I remember no swords. For a ninja movie, that was sword light.
But I'm sure Game of Death 2 had some katanas and we just don't remember.
I think even Deadly Prey had a katana at one point.
Yeah,
actually, I think you're right. Yeah, no, I mean that's a strong one. It's just when you think of things that are just feel like Boogaloo. Well, katanas feel Boogaloo.
Yep. There's no question about it. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our award show. It was a fine year, gentlemen. I enjoyed so much of this, and I enjoy stepping out and entering the octagon with our next season, and I think we've got some strong contenders in that. So I think we're going to see some strong,
we
next
don't
year.
know. We really don't. We don't know what next season will be. How can you say we have strong contenders? We haven't picked one movie for the next season yet.
We haven't?
No. Have we?
Enter the octagon. It's chosen.
Oh, Enter the Octagon. Okay, I guess that is coming up.
That'll be the next season. Yeah.
I'm like, what?
My bad.
All right. Well, apparently we've gone way too long since Jack is already forgetting what's going on. Okay. Does anybody have anything else to add about this? Seasons 5 through 10, or shall we wrap this up?
I think the one thing I would say is that it's because of the context of when we're doing this. I don't think our final season got as much recognition as it might have had with a bit more reflection. The Magic season,
yeah.
So it's the one least represented in the awards we gave out this year. But it's because it's in the opposite of every other awards show. It's too fresh in our mind.
Yeah, it would be too
really
easy.
Mullets, yeah,
we're worried that we're scoring it because it's too. Yeah, we're worried of giving it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think that the space season did wind up with a fair chunk of awards in and of itself. I mean, deserve it.
You know what?
But
you know what? What was the movie the HBO one that we did? Instead of Cast a Deadly Spell, switch that in over Cast. Switch that in, excellent movie. Switch that in for most objective quality for me over Class of 1999.
That was actually close for me. That probably was pick number 3 for me. Yeah. There was some great movies. Actually, like that's the wacky thing in this case is that we did some movies that I'm like, oh yeah, that was a really good movie. I like that movie a lot. You know?
It keeps accidentally picking them.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay. Oh well. Yeah, join us next time because we are entering the.
You still got it.
Oh yeah, the business. Oh, I totally forgot about the business. Jim, do the business.
All right, you should subscribe to the show on whatever source you have for your podcasts. We are also sponsored by WheatTalkPodcasts.com. They have a website that has the home of the Octagon, where you can keep track of our search for the ultimate B movie in this nice table where you can sort it by each category. And they have a Twitter, they have a Facebook, and we have an Instagram at Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo.
Okay, now we can do this. So, yes, we have been talking about seasons 5 through 10 of the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. We will be jumping into season 11, Enter the Octagon, next. So, we all look forward to that. So, for Jim, and for Jack, and for Nick, I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and thank you for listening to the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo!
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. You're looking for a film that has big time count. What B-movie will be the ultimate champ? You might think they're crazy, might think they're diseased, but they watch all the shot to find the best of the beast. It's Stan, Jim, Jack, and Nick who watch till it's finished. But their love for these movies can be diminished. And maybe the film's plot has no rhyme or reason, but that's part of the jam. Oh, and Brad of the season. It's the low-budget film that it is most true. They finding the flick that's most Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Ooh, ooh, Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Ooh, ooh, Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Ooh, ooh, Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Ooh, ooh, Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric